first and second ban. So a lot of the options are open. For Nova, there's the Pei, there's the Chicha, there is the likes of the Long for the side of Muji to pick up, or there is also the Doliarchy. So NONGSHIM REDFORCE, what do you realistically ban in your 1-2?
Well, I wouldn't dare to give the Pei out, and I would actually choose to go for giving out the Long. If you give out the Long, and then that, at least that's just out of the equation, you don't need to be thinking about that hero later on. Giving out the Pei, knowing the momentum that right now Nova has, and knowing that Pei is a hero that just needs tempo, that might be too much for NONGSHIM REDFORCE at this specific stage of the game.
A fun fact though, game 1, Pei was open for both sides from minute 1 all the way to the end of the draft here. So maybe both teams are saving Pei until the very last moment in game 3 and game 4 to hit it decisively. When there's lesser counters, maybe Kong Ling or Haku can show up even harder with such a strong tempo pick, right? But as we talk about, Nova Esports banning out the Evernight Aspiration Haya, and for NONGSHIM REDFORCE, Long Aoyan is removed from the pool.
Byron is going to be the next ban, just trying to allow Xuan, just understand that Xuan right now it's in a very good moment. So what about if we just eliminate that Byron out of there, put Xuan into something that could give him an advantage? If they have the advantage over there in Clash Lane, if the Xuan against Rattel matchup starts going towards Nova Esports, that's going to open one of the flanks for Nova to attack NONGSHIM REDFORCE.
Yeah, and I think Chicha definitely has to go into his pockets of Nova Esports. It gives so much value for the side of Nova. Shren plays it well, Muji plays it well, and it's a really good flex pick against NONGSHIM REDFORCE here. And the ban on towards the Dharma, the Byron, is actually really smart. It forbids the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE for getting something that's overly aggressive against their composition, making sure that, hey, you can get the Pei for yourself, but you don't have the Byron to pair it up for that ultra early game.
Well, and they take on to the Dharma, right? Like one of the strong options over there in Clash Lane. So right now it's going to be Dharma and the Garuda. They've got good initiation and they've got good poking abilities.
Yep. For this early game especially, the idea is simple, right? You want to outrange the opponent with the Majestic Guardian in the hands of Illusion, and you want to set up the play coming in with Rattel on that Dharma. But the problem is, can you survive the laning phase against Shren? Because yes, the Martial Monk does really well in those team fights, but the Chicha is such a lane bully against weak laners like the Dharma in Clash Lane.
Yes. No, and that's gonna be a problem, right? The problem in here that they need to be thinking about is, if I am already losing that lane, what do I do? Do I balance it and just try to ask people to come in and help? Or do I just full on go and take on the other and take a big advantage on farm? If they want to take a big advantage on farm, they're going to be facing against a channel. And that channel and that idea has been very, very successful for Nova Esports in this KIS4.
Yeah, it's a very strong lane matchup here, but for Nova Esports right now, they are in a desperate situation where they need a tank jungler. You have very good, fantastic DPS, Shren on the Forge Maiden, Muji on the pack leader, but you don't have a solid enough frontline in this game too to really walk up and get vision for your core 2 carries here. So I'm imagining Nova Esports, they need to see what they can actually select coming down to the small tank jungle pool. They use Ogren, and NONGSHIM REDFORCE is like, bet, let's ban away the Monkey, let's ban away the Floorborn tank, and force potentially Kong Ling into something like a Dun.
I would like to see the Dun. The Dun is the only option right now that I can see that would work in there, unless that they want to go for something different and play the Chicha jungle, but I cannot see at the moment how would that actually work. So I would dare to say the Dun is an option that is opening there. I know that Nova Esports can play it. It has dropped down the meta. It is not that big a T0 pickup as it was in the past. So that's gonna be really hard for them. We can see that they might go for the easy. They're just gonna full on damage, man. Who needs a tank when you're just a machine of dealing damage?
Yeah, throw out the topic that we actually had just now on like Nova Esports needing a tank. They are like, screw it, scrap it. We don't need a tank. We are gonna be like locking in Kong Ling's Luna that he has a almost, I think 100% win rate throughout the entire tournament with, and we will make sure that he can perform on this specific pick. So let's go with it. Luna locked in, and NONGSHIM REDFORCE striking back on the hands of Haku with a jungle assassin fate matchup as well.
Well, that consort you pick over there as the 4th pick for NONGSHIM REDFORCE might have been a little bit too early, because then you can start seeing that Nova Esports replies back with magical damage. And they said, okay, you've got the consort you, I'm gonna give you magical damage, so it is not going to play to your advantage.
Smart drafting and smart adaptation throughout the entirety of the draft itself coming in for both teams. But in terms of the overall well-roundedness coming in for the draft itself, I think NONGSHIM REDFORCE is looking comfortable as long as the game goes into their favor with a 2,000-3,000 gold deficit or gold lead. They should be able to control the game very well, but it's Nova Esports. We've seen before when they get out-drafted by Blacklist International, they don't care, they'll just beat you up into a pulp.
What I'm a little bit worried about right now is the momentum of the game. Like, let's talk about the times of the game. I do believe that the Luna is a great pick. It's gonna be depending a lot on the mechanics of what Konglin can do with it. But at the same time, if the game goes late and then the Succubus cloaks start coming up, that Luna is not gonna be able to deal that much damage as we would be expecting. So if timing is of the essence, if right now it's going to be pace, the main idea that Nova Esports is going to have to do, what do they do in the laning stages in order to get that advantage?
I think we need to see how Nova Esports plays. Like you mentioned, laning phase is definitely really in favor for South Nova. We see Chicha being a bully against the likes of the Dharma in the early stage. And although, yes, you can say that Consort U negates physical damage, so in theory, it does pretty well into the channel, but channel in the early phase with those Spirit Wolves is not going to be an easy life coming in for the Consort U to play that laning matchup. And in towards the mid lane, we're looking at a Garuda versus the Yixing. So mid lane control is really, really important coming in for both teams to put that pressure elsewhere. So mid lane cleared, immediately move to side lane, get that pressure elevated from the side laner's shoulder.
I can already start seeing the mid laners just being very quick at cleaning the wave and then starting to move. So that might be a trigger, that might be a clue for the junglers just to start understanding the pathing lanes, right? Like the way that they're gonna make those rotations from mid lane and then just trying to guess exactly what's gonna be their path. That might be the right moment just for having a jungler assassin just waiting for you in the bush.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. If you have no front line, specifically for the side of Nova Esports, if you lose that early game, you have no one to protect the jungle, you have no one to clear out bush vision, it's gonna be really difficult for Nova if they lose the early game. So on the flip side, if NONGSHIM wins the early game, it's super duper good for them. Whether or not they can actually capitalize on Kongling's jungle is a very important information that they need to grasp. If they can grasp onto it, it's gonna be a perfect scenario for the boys in red.
I think that they do not even need to go and try to harass, right? As long as they can have eyes on where he is, that's gonna be enough. Just the communication coming in between among them, just being able just to understand where that Luna is going to be, in which moment, who needs to be careful about that. As long as they slow him down, that's gonna be more than enough. At 4 minutes when the Tyrant battles comes in, and then if NONGSHIM REDFORCE can come in with equal gold, they might have the advantage for this first fight.
Yeah, perfectly agreed there. As we are slowly but surely getting in towards the games here, we have already aligned our thoughts on towards the specific draft itself. It's coming down to the execution of these two teams. For Nova Esports, they are currently leading the series against NONGSHIM REDFORCE in the finals of KIS4, 1-0 here. Whether or not NONGSHIM REDFORCE can equalize this series, it's gonna be an important game 2 for them.
The pressure is on, man, because if we go into a 2-0, that's already like a little bit too much. I would dare to say that 1-1, that would be normal behavior into final. A 2-0, that might just fall straight into what a lot of people have talked about, that this might be a 4-0, 4-1 kind of game.
Well, if it does fall into a 3-0 before the halftime show, they do have Afghan that's going to be coming up to give them the morale, to give them the voice of melody that they need to come back in towards this series here. And with Nova on towards the blue side and NONGSHIM REDFORCE on towards the red side in this game too, we will be starting our match here. Both mid lanes going in for a 1v1. Illusion already clearing that mid lane with that fast clear. That's the perks and benefits of playing a Garuda.
No, the Garuda for me, like the best pick over there in mid lane in terms of team game, right? Like if you're able just to clean up the wave quickly and then just make your movement, that's the best that you can do for your team. Look at that Illusion. Immediately the rotation comes in a lot faster than Wendy.
Yeah, and we do see a level 2 being secured coming in for the side of Namu already here, but the fact that Illusion got the first clear due to the nature of the hero, it allowed NONGSHIM REDFORCE to pick up that fire beak here. A good stun on towards the side of Siri here, but no connection coming in for the side of Wendy here. So this is a neutralized play coming in for the side of NONGSHIM.
But you can start already seeing, right? Like the focus is gonna be on the farm lane. The farm lane is gonna be the main focus of these first minutes, just trying to get an advantage in there. And they're gonna leave Bratel and Xuan just to throw hands in there on the clash lane.
Yeah, beautiful engage on towards Waypit here. Has to pop the flash on towards the Diadea here. So that's going to be a 2-minute cooldown for the Nova Roamer.
Conley over here coming and just sharing the gold with Xuan. He's going to just TP and come in and take even more gold in the mid lane. Right now, Conley is just onto that financial growth kind of business.
I think it makes sense, right? Because you are utilizing Wendy as a utility mage and playing Assassin jungle, so whatever you can actually get off, you need to put it into the pockets of Kong Ling and make sure that he dominates this game. And we do see an aggressive play coming in towards the mid side here. Namu using the flash, spell 2, isn't able to get Kong Ling. Beautiful new move reset coming in from the Nova Luna.
All right, the city key for today. Thank you very much for being here on the grand finals. Walk on Fire is going to be the first city key, and the second one's going to be Sparkling. A 4 instead of an A there for the Sparkling. Those are going to be the 2 city keys for our last day of the KIS4. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here with us.
Yeah, enjoy the HOK esports, enjoy the competitiveness coming in for both of these two teams, because these two teams, they are not going down without a fight here. As we approach slowly to the 4th minute mark, I would have to say NONGSHIM REDFORCE is doing a pretty good job in limiting Muchi's lane prowess here, constantly sending Illusion down to put focus in that 3v2. Never a 2v2, always a 3v2 in favor of NONGSHIM.
Being able just to get there a lot faster than what Wendy can do has been a very big advantage for NONGSHIM REDFORCE, and they've been able to capitalize out of that. 40 seconds away from the first Tyrant, so let's wait and see if they can force something out of Nova in these little exchanges before that. Look at that.
Coming in with the Hardened J Seal, doesn't get the execution on towards Muchi here. That's 2 big ultimates that won't be available later on in that team fight, but at the cost of Muchi burning that flash. That was really close in almost getting Muchi in that play.
It is exactly what NONGSHIM REDFORCE needed to do, right? Like right before the 4-minute mark, if I can get Muchi out of there and I can get the kill, that's gonna set up the table for them to do that. Look at that, one more time, they're gonna go in for the jump.
Ooh, Waypit has a very good positioning there, making sure that Muchi stays near the walls and making sure that Haku doesn't get the jump on towards the Nova channel. Here we do see a beautiful board forcing the flash out of the hands of Siri here. This Tyrant goes in easily for the side of Nova Esports, and they back off cleanly in this first play.
They can read that NONGSHIM REDFORCE wanted to make the jump, they hesitated, did not do that, and then Conley made the decision to jump in directly in for that Tyrant. Comes in and he gets onto 2 over here in the mid lane.
Oh, the execution. Wendy catches Haku on towards the wall with that spell 1 and forces him to dismount from the wall. And with that play, this Crimson Golem goes in easily to the hands of Nova Conley. And if they want to, if they have information, that Azure Golem might be the next target here.
Yeah, you can see that right over there. Waypit just told him, Azure Golem is here free for grabs. What do you want to do? And then he says, I bet, give me that, I'll take that one, and now we can share our own.
And with that play alone, it's already a 1,000 goal lead in favor for the side of Kong Lane. And towards the top side here, we see a bit of a tip attack coming in for Shren. Popping the Grandmaster forward to zone out Rattel from that laning phase here. But jungle is such a big gap between Kong Lane and Haku right now.
Yeah, exactly. Just giving the kill over there to Nova Esports is not as painful as the fact that the one falling was Haku. That fate could not fall right over there because it's already a 1,200 gold advantage that Kong Lane has on top of his counterpart.
We do see a lane swap here coming in for South NONGSHIM. REDFORCE trading sides here. They do take that top tier 1, but at the expense of that bottom tier 2, going into the hands of Nova Esports and towards the mid lane here. Illusion has to take the recall, so this mid lane for this upcoming wave will be a dangerous one for the side of NONGSHIM.
I'm telling you right now, Nova not only controlling the game, but controlling the waves, right? Like if they have over there already taken onto that tier 2 turret, that's going to be good things for them.
But Haku overextending into that play here. He thought he could get the kill on towards Wave Pit, but the heals coming in from the Bond Weaver ultimate does put her back into a comfortable state. And with Haku once again falling during the spawn of the buffs, both of these buffs are going to be invaded by the side of Nova Kong Lane.
Look at that, and then immediately the whole rotation coming in from NONGSHIM REDFORCE is just to go and just protect the blue buff, right? They want to go and protect the blue buff, but then to what cost? Right now it's going to be Haku, the one that does not have the blue. The blue is going to go to someone else.
Yeah, Siri does have to forcefully take it, because if it's left there, Nova's going to be like, oh, that's a freebie. Definitely going to come over to pick that up. Namu uses the lightning troop, has to back away, because look at the gold rank. Number 1, Nova carry. Number 2, Nova carry. Number 3, Nova carry. And towards the bottom side here, ultimate straight up between both Clash laners here. Nice hit towards the wall here, Rattel. No towers to back off over to. One more shot coming from Muchi, but overextend!
Muchi!
From NONGSHIM REDFORCE here. What a key misplay coming in from the Nova Esports marksman.
Oh, we gotta call them as we see them, man. And right over there, Muchi might have just turned things around in there because he wanted to go in for the kill. He was just being a little bit too greedy, and then he was faced with a 1v4. Now Haku's in trouble. He needs to run away, jumps onto the wall, but he still is going to fall.
But I think this is an okay kill coming in for South NONGSHIM REDFORCE. Yes, you do lose Haku, but you get the one of the late game carries coming in for South Nova Esports, so that Daybreaker wouldn't be that fast here, but nice setup here coming in from Rattel to put Wendy in towards his face, but a counterboard to catch on towards Rattel. Rattel with no flash will be the victim of this exchange.
Wendy tanked in so much in there, and he still had his passive available, so he could actually run away out of this engage. It is going to be right now 8 minutes of the game, and already a 4,000 gold advantage for Nova. NONGSHIM REDFORCE need to contest this Tyrant.
I don't think they can here with a 4,000 goal lead for the hands of Nova Esports. Team fights will be extremely difficult for the red side right now. You can see river control is totally in the favor of Nova. If they overextend, they will be going into a full board that's going to be casted by the board master coming in from Wendy.
That's a beautiful thing about having Wendy's E-Seeing available, right? E-Seeing just casting over there the board. It's just in the moment that you have like a very big fight, it is a really, really important skill.
Look at that board, just casually zoning every single member coming in from NONGSHIM from defending that mid-tier 1. Losing that mid-tier 1 opens up so much map pressure for some Nova Esports to consistently enter the enemy jungle here and towards the bottom side here. Typical stuff coming in for Sada Haku here, unable to defend against Shren, and Kong Ling playing hyper-aggressively, forcing the flash out of Namu. Beautiful set coming in for Sada Rattel, putting Kong Ling on towards the wall. 1-4 exchange already here, and we see a fatal arrow to land the finalizing shot on towards Illusion. Haku forces the 2 for 2, but it is still in favor for the side of Nova Esports. With the Vanguards marching through bottom side, this might just be a bottom tier 3.
Oh, I'm really sorry. It's only Siri and Namu, the ones that are going to try to clean the waves. And the problem is that they have Vanguards to try to clean in here. The turrets take a lot of damage. They're down 50% of his HP over there in the mid lane and in the farm lane. Right now, things looking good for Nova. We're going to make it to 10 minutes. And it's going to have to be Haku as he comes out of the fountain just to come in and see that his Azure Golem is going to be one more time harassed by Nova.
Yeah, Nova just getting vision of this certain objective here. Calling wants to go in for the steal here, but is forced away by the Wings of Judgment coming in for the side of Illusion here. NONGSHIM REDFORCE starting off this Shadow Tyrant in towards the bottom side here. Ratel wants to look for a specific engage. The Hardened JC does secure its mark here. Shred pops the Grandmaster Forge on towards Siri, going for a 1v1. Gets the first kill here. Nova Esports having blinking health bars here for Shred to the rescue. Getting back-to-back kills for the side of Nova Esports here. Although Haku does get few kills coming back in towards his pockets here, but he is the single sole member for the side of NONGSHIM, and he will be taken down. And with the final death timers here, this will be game 2 going into the hands of Nova Esports.
Nova Esports one more time, they come in, they win a big fight, and then after the ace, the base is going to follow. 2-0 advantage for Nova Esports in this KIS4 Grand Final.
Wow, already a very convincing lead in a BO7 series for the side of Nova here. 2-0, so they are 1 point away from securing match point in KIS4. For NONGSHIM, it's not the time to panic. It's the time to settle yourself down, think of a specific draft that could be potentially useful against Nova Esports in the upcoming Game 3.
The problem in here, I do not think it's a matter of the draft. I do believe that the draft was actually pretty good for NONGSHIM REDFORCE. I do believe that the draft worked really well for them. The problem was the execution of it. The execution was not on point. The problem is that Haku keeps falling again and again and again and again. And then if the Fade is not available in there, it becomes so squeezy. Who's going to contest these big fights?
I think that's the problem, right? When we're talking about two jungle assassin matchups, the mid to late game revolves heavily around the two junglers. And when you pick out the Fade coming in for NONGSHIM Haku, in your mind you're thinking like, okay, I want to invade against the Luna with my ultimate to guarantee that steal on the Azure Golem. But what happened actually was, after the Tyrant, we see Haku's Fade, 50% health, but getting chunked out by the Taken's Liberty coming in from Wendy's Yixing, pulling him down from the wall. And if he died there, which he did, he loses all his buff in one certain rotation, immediately setting himself back 1,000 gold deficit against his jungle counterpart Kong Ling. So ever since then, it's already very difficult for the Fade coming in from Haku to command control against Kong Ling.
I think that the problem in here was the gold difference. The gap started extremely early. And the gold gap just started going into the right people for Nova Esports, right?
Oh, yeah.
We came to a moment where it was Luna with more gold, it was Muchi in the channel with more gold. And on top of all that, you have a idea in there that can still help out. It was just too hard for NONGSHIM REDFORCE to try to turn things around. I hope that they will not let this loss just get into their heads and they can actually just wash it off, flip the page, and go in for game number 3. Or else what we're seeing is that we're going to have a very quick final in this KIS4, and nobody wants that.
Yeah, nobody wants that here. They definitely need to fix what they have to fix, because game 1, NONGSHIM REDFORCE played super duper well against the side of Nova Esports, but it is the late game that they slightly fumbled in making sure that Nova Esports could make a comeback. Game 2, if we look into what NONGSHIM REDFORCE did not so well at, it's definitely the jungle control coming in for the side of Haku. Knowing when to farm and knowing when to jump against the enemy is a very key skill that he needs to master right now in the series.
I think for NONGSHIM REDFORCE coming in with such a strong roamer and such a strong jungler and still not being able to take the victory says a lot to how well Nova just set up the early game. Like we talked about that Tricha, right? Like we know how the Tricha on strength could completely take control of that lane in front of Ratel. And the option for NONGSHIM was just to double up on farm lane. Just take the L over there in the clash lane and just double up on the farm lane, try their very best to try to get a little opening. They did have a couple opportunities. Do you remember that at the beginning of the game, the Lapu Lapu comes in with the ult, but then there's no damage coming in after that. If they could have actually taken that kill on Tamuchi, maybe things would have been different because their plan would have actually solidified.
Oh my, if they could get that kill on towards Muchi in that bottom 2v1 gank, that could have sent Muchi so far behind that potentially what Haku lost in that 4th minute wouldn't have even mattered for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE in this game too. But Muchi got out alive utilizing the Spriteling Truth Shield, which gave Nova Esports much more room to breathe before that 4th minute Tyrant.
And that's the moment where the snowball starts rolling, right? It starts rolling down the hill, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We'll see it over there when we get to see the gold graph. This game was very Nova style, very quick, very dominant since minute 1. As the door opens, I'm just going to start going and attacking, right? Like they tried to do that in the first game. They did not have that opportunity. In this game, it was just completely in terms of what they want. Not even 11 minutes the game time in this match.
It was very fast. It reminded me of the Nova Esports versus Blacklist National Game 2, where drafting-wise, it looked slightly in favor for Blacklist. And in this specific case, drafting looked fantastic for NONGSHIM REDFORCE, but it's down to these execution in the early skirmishes. The mistakes that the opponents do tend to put their draft behind in terms of the actual expectations for NONGSHIM.
Damage taken in here from a lot of the Nova Esports team. Like everybody was shielding damage in the exact same way, right? Like all of them, they were taking a very equal amount of damage and they were dealing equal amount of damages as well, right? Like you never saw one person from Nova Esports just kind of like taking lead in any specific stat, but it was actually a team effort. All of it was for them. Look at that. This is exactly how Nova games look like. When the gold starts rolling in the minute 4, and then after that first Tyrant battle, it starts going up, and never stops until the end of the game.
But surprisingly enough, the late game fight coming in for the Shadow Tyrant was relatively close for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE. They did secure the Shadow Tyrant. They did force out few key kills on towards Illusion, on towards the side of Wendy and also Muji. So it really comes down to how they play that early game. I think early game is a part in terms of laning phase, in terms of jungle control. In game 1, it's more towards the side of the entirety of NONGSHIM REDFORCE in making sure that they pace themselves for a perfect finish.
NONGSHIM REDFORCE, they need to right now sit down and try to find calm, measured decisions in order to come back in game 3 with something different. They've had 2 games where with the start of the game, like the opening stages, the decisions are correct. The problem is that they have not been able just to capitalize out of those. In the first game, a little bit more clear than in the second one. The early game, they need to just keep doing exactly what they're doing, but the mistakes cannot happen. If the mistakes wouldn't have happened in that first game, game number 1, I do believe that they had a bigger opportunity in that game than what they had in this previous one.
Yeah, fully agreed with you there. So for NONGSHIM REDFORCE, maybe is to revisit their mistakes here, reduce the likeliness of those mistakes being repeated in game 3 and potentially game 4. Look to get that first point on the board to solidify that confidence going into this best of 7. It's gonna be a rocky route for NONGSHIM from here on out.
Look at how the map looks like there for Konglin. Total domination in the jungle area, looking in this specific matchup, right? Like we talked about how Konglin, he had some very big shoes to fill in, as CY was such a dominant player in the past. But his performances in these 2 games, this one with the Luna and the previous one over there with the Ogran, they show you that this KIS4 might just show to everyone that he is right now the rightful heir to that specific throne.
CY is going to be threatened and happy at the same time from the substitute spot, looking at how Konglin is performing pretty decent in this best of 7 thus far. So for this specific case, Konglin so far has been playing pretty well, I would say.
Over here in the mid lane, we can see the total domination from Wendy as well. It was really difficult for Illusion. He had the advantage in the rotations, as we mentioned during the game. But the very big problem is that they were not able to turn those advantage in the rotation into kills. They were unable to take that into an early turret that could give them a little bit more vision. That was the problem in there. Because putting some more pressure over there onto Muchi might have just like leveled the game a little bit more. But look at Muchi over there compared to his counterpart, compared to Siri. This one was clear that Muchi was the bigger dog.
And a lot of the assassins coming in for both of these teams, like the Luna, like the Fade, has been keeping their eyes on the backline carries, Muchi and also Seri here. So for these two marksmen to be compared, it's about survivability and reacting to key spells from the main engager for the opponents.
Well, this was game number 2 of our KIS4, the grand final. This is going to be a best of 7. So for Nova Esports, they just need to take 2 more games and then they will be able to be back-to-back international series champions, right? For this invitational series champions. I hope to see the fight from NONGSHIM REDFORCE coming back. But what about if we take a look at the MVP for this specific game? Game 2, the MVP is going to be the one and only Wendy on that eSIM Boardmaster.
He was really clutch in some of these plays here. The reason why Haku was so behind in the early segments of the game, losing the multiple double buffs, losing Azure, losing Crimson, it was because Wendy clipped Haku from the wall, and that jungle discrepancy came from that specific play that we will be seeing later on in the highlights.
And that's the important thing, right? Like, you just need to show up in the clutch moments. Like, you need to understand when you need to show up. And for Wendy, through this whole tournament, he's been just stacking up so many more MVPs than anyone else. I think that this is like the 6th MVP that Wendy's got.
And he definitely deserves it. From that play alone that clipped down Haku, that is the downfall of Haku in every single play later on. But this was the aggressive play coming from Muji, over eager in getting the kill, just to be ganked by the multiple members coming in for the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE.
Oh, come on, like sometimes when you're having an advantage and you see the easy kill right over there, everybody wants to jump in for that. That is the problem about this situation.
And you can see throughout the entire highlights, I don't want to say a lot, but Haku didn't really have a good time. I think first 4 clips we saw was Haku dying, Haku dying, Haku dying, and that's not really comfortable when you're playing a jungle assassin.
And look at that, this one in here, he comes, takes a kill, but then after that it was Haku dying one more time.
The stress is definitely piling on towards him here. You can see in this final team fight here, beautiful raging scene coming in from the side of Namu here. Muchi getting isolated by Siri in that 1v1. Then Xuen coming in for the cleanup here on towards the backliners of the side of NONGSHIM REDFORCE. Although Haku does get a return kill on towards the side of Wendy, but he has no escape route and it is an easy end for the side of Nova Esports coming in for this game 2.
They win the 1v1 battle over there in the Crimson Golem area. Just to walk it off over here to the Crystal. Just the minions came, they come, take the Crystal, 2-0 advantage. You can see how the fans over there in Jakarta are already very excited about not only the 2 games that we have watched, but one of the main parts of what we're going to be seeing today, that halftime.